Monteric Brown, I guess it was all SEC coaches.
Who'd you say, buddy?
Monteric Brown.
Okay.
Just wondering, what'd you think of his season, how he progressed maybe from last year, and just what he means to the team?
Yeah, I think as the season went on, he became more comfortable. You could see him, and he was in position. I look back to the interception he had against LSU, and it almost seemed effortless, but it wasn't effortless. But he was in position. When the guy showed his hands, he turned around, eyes. I think he matured as the year went on. He grew in confidence. I believe he had 6 interceptions, and that may have led to SEC. I'm not positive. I think it led to SEC in interceptions at corner spot. So I think he just had a really good season, and I expect him to play well in the bowl.
And in most of those games, when he picked a pass off, I think Auburn was the exception. You guys won. So those are probably pretty key plays. I mean, how important is he to the defense?
Big time. And I think his leadership skills are getting better and better, and I think it will translate for him in the NFL.
He's talked about he hadn't made a decision yet. Are you hoping you'll get him back? You think with the kind of year he's had?
Oh, yeah, I want him back. Yeah, sure do. We haven't sat down and in-depth talk about it. But, yes, I certainly would have him back in a heartbeat.
Question about Treylon Burks and, a couple of practices since then. Who have you seen maybe taking the reins, speaking up?
Well, we moved Davion to slot along with Bryce Stevens and of course, Treylon Crawford. We had Warren Thompson who's been playing a lot of ball, so he moved up in that spot. Certainly Keytron Jackson's another guy that's going to have to play a lot of ball, and Tyson Morse is going to have to make up a little bit for Burks not being there. But we've had very shortened practices with the veterans so far. The first 2 non-contact, non-padded practices we will put on the shells today, and practice won't be lengthy. I mean, we have 13 left, probably about an hour and 25 minutes, but we will do inside run and force and 7-on-7, all of it today.
The folks who've seen a lot of Arkansas football think Treylon Burks might be, ranked in the very top of all-time Arkansas receivers. And you may not be in position to compare him, but, just his skill set, the catches he's made, and his time under you, what have you thought of his?
Well, he's a great kid, great character, unbelievable one-on-one guy. I mean, when he's one-on-one, just throw it to him, and he'll be able to come down with it if it's really anywhere close to him. Matured this year, I thought, a lot. As a competitor, I thought he competed very, very well, very hard. He's got a bright future in the game and has a bright future outside of the game. I think the whole state of Arkansas is proud of what he did, and I certainly am. And we're very thankful that he was here for 3 years.
You've been on teams that have had, Alex Collins, maybe a 1,500-yard rusher, but then you've had years like this year where you got a bunch of good guys that split it up. Do you have a preference, and could one of those guys have been, a 1,000-yard rusher?
I think so. I mean, I think if we didn't play so many different running backs, I think, especially when guys got into grooves in games and things of that nature, certainly against Missouri, we were losing guys. We were having injuries and went into it beat up just a little bit. Rocket had a shoulder, and so. But yeah, I think we had some guys that are capable on our team if they had been the sole featured back to rush for 1,000 yards.
Coach, you mentioned Bryce Stevens a moment ago. I was wondering if there's any other, not just freshmen, but younger players or maybe guys that have been a little banged up or something with these bowl practices that you said you had 13 left that might factor into the game more than maybe we've seen them this season?
Well, Bryce would be the number one guy, in my mind that he needs to and step up. I think he's capable of it. We certainly were aware of his fourth game, and so we didn't play him so he could play in the bowl. I don't know, who else that hasn't already played, like Johnson and those guys have already played. I don't know who else would. Maybe Lander Rogers might be able to help us a little bit. But I'm not positive that there's another one out there that I can think of right now that I'd go. Poopaw might get a little extra. I know he'll play on special teams quite a bit more than what he has this year.
And you talked about maybe scrimmaging those young guys some during these practices. Do you have a plan for that when you plan to do it, and how many plays you might run?
It'll be probably about a 20-minute scrimmage, and it'll be sometime in the latter part of this week. I'm not for sure whether we'll do it on Thursday or Friday, but it'll be somewhere the latter part of this week. Once we haven't really been in pads enough for me to be comfortable scrimmaging quite too quick. So once I get a feel of if they're ready to tackle to the ground, I think, and then we'll decide that next day whether it be Thursday or Friday.
Sam, with Vito hitting the portal, is Cam, who's Little and Lowy, is that your two kickoff guys, or is it someone?
No, those would be the two guys. There was probably about a 2 to 3 yard difference on average of Vito and Cam. So we feel like very confident we can kick it out, but I hated to lose Vito. He's really good, very valuable to us on those kickoffs. I can remember against Mississippi State with the time I said, Scott, we better pop this up, and sky it and things of that nature. He said, he'll kick it out, Coach. And I said, Scott, you better be right. And he did, but I was nervous about it.
Coach, can you talk to us about what it was like to be in Tampa and sign the deal? The guy said you talked about the grass a little bit. Can you tell us about that?
I'm sorry.
Can you talk a little bit about what it was like being in Tampa last week?
Yeah.
And the grass, maybe the guys mentioned?
Yeah. I don't know what they do with the grass, but they don't play on it, I don't think. I mean, it was outstanding. It was so exciting to be in Tampa, and what a welcome committee was there, and obviously the Outback Bowl is nationally known as a New Year's Day bowl, and they had some neat activities and things. You got to visit with a lot of different folks, and just feeling, they played the Super Bowl in Tampa last year, and so there was a lot of excitement. I was very honored to be there and represent Arkansas and the university. It was a lot of fun. It's hard to explain, but I can tell you when we walked out, I don't know, maybe 6:37 at night. I don't know, Kyle, exactly the time, but it was hot when we walked out. So that's cost the kids a little bit more conditioning so far in camp.
Just as far as Penn State, just as more film you've looked at them, how does their defense rate with some of the ones you've faced?
Well, it's really good. They a lot of movement. They have a really good front four. They got a transfer in 17 last year that from Temple that is a problem. Their two inside 12 and 13. Their two inside linebackers are really, really good, and then one. Brisker is a big-time safety. Defensively, they have a really good odd package, a three-man down package for third down in their blitz schemes, but they're not going to stay there. They're going to move. They try to get you. The thing I notice the most about them is they try to get you behind the chains on first down. They're trying to disrupt. They're not going to stand still on first down. They're going to move and try to get you behind the chains. But well coached, play extremely hard. Really what you'd kind of expect Penn State to look like. Big, long.
Offensively, how they look
Well, I
like?
love their quarterback, Clifford. He's a leader. He's a senior. If you look at Penn State's team, they're a pretty old team. They have a lot of seniors on their team. I think everything goes through Dotson. They want to throw the ball to him. I would too if he was on our team. Very, very good receiver, even though they have others with Lambert and, 13. He's a good player. But I think they go through a little bit through Clifford, through 14. And I think he has a lot of poise. He's got a gun for an arm, and he looks like a natural leader out there on the field. So they've gone a little bit more of passing. They throw it a lot and do a really good job of protecting. They've got a veteran offensive line.
We haven't talked to you since the Burlsworth. Can you summarize Grant's time at Arkansas, what he's meant, and how his influence will be felt on the younger guys after he leaves?
Yeah, wasn't that a cool program? I was very fortunate that I had an opportunity to go there, and what just a really classy event that it was, and I was so proud for Grant and his achievement there. He'll have it forever, and but for him to come back and like all these other super seniors, but for him to come back and experience winning, I think, and experience having the trophies and all that kind of stuff, and then to get the Burlsworth Award, I'm so happy for him, and he deserves everything that he's getting.
Hey, Sam, I don't think we've actually talked to you since Treylon made his announcement. I think it's pretty understandable. A lot of guys in his situation are going to do the same thing. But did it surprise you at all, or kind of what were your conversations like with him? And what was your reaction when he said, "I'm opting out"?
I think those conversations you'd have to ask Burks about. But I'll say this: when he made his decision, I supported it, and not that he needed it, but I supported him, and. The first thing that goes along with that, you find out where he's projected in the draft. You start talking that at first, and because he had two decisions: one, whether I'm going to come back for my senior year, and the other one was whether I'm going to play in the bowl or not. And there's different options you can do nowadays with insurance and things of that nature. We certainly talked to him about all those things, and in the end of things, he visited with his family. And he made a decision, and we're 100% behind him and support him in that decision. But we obviously had several different conversations about it.
I got a couple of questions about Cam a little too, if I could. I remember telling him in the summer, it's kind of rare that a kicker gets a scholarship out of high school. It happens sometimes, but it doesn't happen a lot. He said I think he said he felt some pressure to deliver because, you guys gave him a scholarship. Just wondering what all went into that decision in retrospect, and how good is it to see a guy deliver like he has, and you feel like he's going to be your guy for the next 3 years too.
Yeah, I'm glad he's a freshman, and glad that he's accountable. I mean, I don't really question whether he's going to make a field goal or not, and I know he hadn't made them all, but he made almost all of them, and especially in key moments, he's a really good pressure guy under pressure. But out of high school, those guys that get scholarships, we're not the only team that offers them. Those guys that are the elite, you certainly, if you look back from our field goal unit from my first year here to this year, it's quite different. I think there's probably 2 to 3, maybe more games that the difference in Cam and that unit making those field goals had in winning and losing. So we'll continue to have that. We save normally 3 scholarships for specialists, and it's paying off for us.
I know you don't coach kickers specifically, but what do you think makes him such a good kicker? Well, you're the head coach, not special teams guy is what I've had, I guess.
Okay.
I know head coaches are always involved in special teams. But what do you think makes Cam such a cool customer, so confident, especially after he had a little bit of a rough patch in the spring?
I don't know. I mean, I don't. I wish I did. I think it's just the guy's makeup, and he doesn't wear socks, so I may have something to do with it. I don't know. I just know that he's a cool customer and very confident, and so I really don't know. I'm assuming that he, makes a bunch of them and it gets confidence in him. But our team believes in him. I can promise you that.
Sam, not having Burks, does that change your offense any, or do you just mix it to more receivers and keep the same thing, just full speed ahead?
He's so valuable to us. I mean, so valuable. He's our go-to guy, and And any time that we got total or zero, no safeties in the back end, everybody in the building knew we were going to go to him, including the guy that was guarding him, defending him. So, yeah, I think some of that's going to change maybe what we do. I anticipate a heavy box, from Penn State. They're always playing about 6.5 in there. If you have 6 blockers, they're about 6 and a safety, halfway in and halfway out. I anticipate a full 7-man box against them, probably a man-to-man, man-free type situation. Even though they're a zone blitz team, I would think they'd outnumber us in the box, try to stop our run game.
Since you don't have a game next week after the week after the bowl game, is it a deal where KJ might run a little bit more than usual and take maybe some of the pressure off in that regard?
Well, I think he's going to run if we need him to win the game. Obviously we went into Ole Miss thinking that would be, the way for us to win the game, and I'm not for sure that, with us using him that much, it's part of it. We want to win. That it didn't affect him a little bit against Auburn, being beat up and those things, but we don't play anybody, as you said, after this game. We're going out there to do the best thing we can and use our personnel the best way we can to win.
Cam doesn't ever wear socks, or just when he kicks?
He just got them little bitty socks that don't, you can't see them.
Little booty socks?
Yeah. And I'd always get on to him, about not pulling them up. And he said, Coach, I can't, and I said, well, put the ones you can, And then he started making all the field goals. I said, oh, hell, you're good, but, yeah, I don't know.
With Treylon, we've seen him projected late first, early second. McShay, I think, had him 31st today.
I think you're 100% correct. I think that's a low 1, high 2 in the projection.
In your opinion, when he gets to the combine,
he'll raise it.
Yeah,
he'll raise it because they're going to meet him, and as soon as they meet him, he'll raise. The guy is a phenomenal kid, and it's hard for me to be disappointed in a man that leaves after 3 years and doesn't play in the bowl and those things, when all the things that he's done for the university and for the football team and for me personally. But he's just a phenomenal guy, and I think he'll run faster than what maybe I hope, and I think he will, than what maybe the scouts think he can.
And just jumping ahead a few days, but Christmas, what are you guys planning? You keeping it all in house? I mean, I don't guess you could really just send them home for a couple of days, or are you? I'm
more than happy to tell you that we're going to practice today, tomorrow, Thursday, Friday, and then they're off Saturday, Sunday. We're going to come back Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and all of them will be in the AM. Because school's out. And I want to make this, I want to practice, but I want the kids to have a little fun. We're going to give them some bowling things and some movie night passes and things of that nature. But we'll practice Thursday, the 23rd, and they'll be gone about noon. So they'll leave on the 23rd at noon. They'll be off the 24th and the 25th. We'll come back the 26th, and that'll be our travel day to Tampa. And then once we get down there, we will have a full Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, just as normal as every week is, and then play the game on Saturday. We'll practice in the morning there as well.
You traveling as a group, or?
No, we're going. No. Hey, I wasn't comfortable. There's two things. Number one, I want the team to go down. Now, how they get home, that's a different story, because they're going to have basically two plus weeks off. But I wanted to practice. I wanted to travel as a team. There's number one. Number two, I wanted to take the team picture that we had talked about, and everybody needs to be here. So we're going to have our suits on and take a picture before we leave in the stadium with the 3 trophies.
Special teams in general, what have you thought of the evolution of the kicking game under you?
Well, I think after week 5, Georgia exposed us with some hanging guys back there, and we weren't counting them to get. But I don't want to go all into it. But I think we've done a lot better. Certainly we had 2 punts blocked, one early in the year and then one against Georgia. And then after that, really not much problems. Bauer really had a good year, I thought, punting the ball. And, T.J. Hammonds, those guys covering. We didn't have a lot of return yards on us. Vito kicked everything out. And then Cam making his field goal. So I think we've come a long way. I think we finally found, and someone will figure out, how to attack our punt as well. Obviously, we never wanted to kick the ball to the field, and people were forcing us to do that. And we're very comfortable with doing that now because of our gunners, because of our cover guys. But I think Scott's done an outstanding job, and I'm glad he's here. But more importantly, the kids play awful hard on our special teams, and that's a sign of a good coach.
Yeah. What'd you think of Ridgway's season? And did he surprise you at all? I know you wouldn't have gotten him if you didn't think he was good, but he's had a pretty outstanding year, I think.
Yeah, it's hard a lot of times to sit there and grade a nose guard. Maybe a little bit easier with John Marshall, because he was more of a pass rushing type guy. Big Ridge is a 2-gapper, and he's going to take guys off of linebackers and things of that nature. He's more of a 2-play guy. In other words, he's not as much a third down threat as John Marshall was. If I could go out and get a John Ridgway every year in the portal, we'd take as many as they'd give us. He's a great kid. He works hard. We go to this bowl, there was no talking about. He's in the Senior Bowl, and there was no talk about not playing, those type things. Now, listen, when I say that, someone's going to say I said something bad about Burks, and I did not. Put that out there. I've already said that, but he didn't say anything about that. And he wanted to play. He had never had any bowl before, and he wants to play, and he came here for it. And so I just think he's an outstanding guy. He had a really good year for us. I mean, he's a fourth, fifth round projection right now.
I think Monteric maybe got invited to the Senior Bowl or maybe one of those other bowls.
He got invited, from what I understand, he's gotten invited to NFLPA in the East-West. I think he accepted the East-West Bowl.
And that's one, you talked about Bauer a second ago. I mean, I don't know if everybody knew about his skill set as a receiver or runner, but seriously, his versatility and the weapon he became late in the year when you guys did those fakes. I mean, what'd you think? What'd you think about his all-around play
Bauer.
And what he can do moving forward?
I love him. I mean, he ran the one against LSU and they got up and, first down and all. He got the crap knocked out of him on the sideline, by the way. But I'll say something about him. He, like I said before, he couldn't hit the broadside of a barn throwing the ball. And he just stayed after practice and worked it. And I wouldn't say he was Dan Marino on the touchdown against Alabama, but at least he got it to him. And Kern's got some long hands and went back there and got it. But Bauer's really done a good job. I'm really happy for him. And to me, he's what Arkansas is about,
Yeah, you've had a special thing at linebacker for both your years here. Morgan, Henry, and Poole. The number of tackles, just their leadership. How can you encapsulate the last game for these guys? Possibly 2, maybe 3.
Well, I want them to go out in style. I think everybody wants their seniors to go up. I would love to see them make a lot of tackles and play lights out like they have all year, and we win the game, Bowls are fun when you win. And but those guys race to the ball, and we're keeping them fresh in there, and they're all playing really well. And certainly we're going to try to get, that's no secret, we're going to try to get Bumper to come back. I don't know if we can or not, but we're trying, so we'll see.
When you play a bowl like this, I know it's about the team pride and all, but you kind of take the SEC banner with you and kind of realize what all you're representing when you go play.
I think you realize that. I don't know if it's a crying symbol, for the team or anything of that nature. I think probably it would be for the teams that are playing you. They've heard so much about the SEC and this, that, and that. I think it might be, maybe, I don't know, you'd have to ask Coach Franklin, but some type of motivation that we're going to beat this powerful SEC conference. For us, we're proud to be in the Southeastern Conference, and we want to represent the conference well. But probably the main thing is we just want to beat Penn State, and finish up on a good year.